We're back on site at our client's HMO conversion project. Our client purchased this property at £405,000, spending £180,000 on it, and once complete, will be worth £750,000. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Malkit Purewal, one half of Savoy's Properties. We've been in the property industry for over 2 decades, specializing in HMOs and commercial or residential deals. Now, before I say any more, follow me inside and I'll show you what's been going on. Now, you can see within here, there's not a great deal to see, but there is actually a great deal to see if you actually know what's actually going on within the property. So we've taken out all the load-bearing walls that were in the property. You'll see basically these beams here, RSJs. This is basically holding the whole structure of the building up. And because it was quite a tight property and we wanted to ensure that we've got 6 rooms, we wanted to maximize the space that we have. So you can see these RSJs here. This is basically holding up the middle section of the house. And then you can see basically where we are at the moment. We've opened the rear wall that was here, taken it out. There's a steel that's gone there. The guys have actually built a couple of pillars on either side, which are load bearing, which is holding the back end of the house all up. Under PD, we're actually gone back 4 meters on the rear here. You can see basically there's 2 doors that are going to be here, and it gives you the indication we're going to split the house up and create 2 rooms, and they'll have their own private gardens at the back. What you see here is this plastic. This is basically the DPC level. This is basically to ensure that water doesn't penetrate up and cause rising damp. What we're actually going to do with the ground floor is once all the pipes have been run, we're going to concrete insulate the ground floor. This ensures that we don't have rodents that enter the house. Because it's an end of terrace, or if it's a semi-detached house, you tend to have issues with neighboring properties and it can impact yours. To avoid this, we tend to concrete and screed the whole ground floor. One, it's basically long wearing for us, but it also removes a lot of the issues that we have with rodents in some other HMO projects that we've previously been managing. Now, the other thing to bear in mind is insulation. So we wanted to ensure that the rear was really well insulated. So you can see within here, we're working with building control standards. So you've got some rock wool insulation that's here. This will ensure that we have minimum heat loss within the property. And then what we'll end up doing on the roof of the rear extension, we'll have Celotex insulation that comes in, and we'll end up putting additional rock wool insulation or Celotex insulation in the joists here. This is basically ensure that we keep heat within the property. Now, if you follow me upstairs, I'll show you what's been going on there. So you can see here, we've taken basically the roof off. And the reason we did this was, firstly, it was in a dilapidated condition. There were some holes in there. We actually had pigeons that were living at the top. That's how long the building's been empty. But the good news there is you're able to claim back the stamp duty levy tax. So this is that additional stamp duty tax that's paid if you're a second home owner or if it's an investment property. So we decided basically strip everything back, redo some of the joists. You can see here, they were a little bit worn. And as our client wants to keep this property for at least 20 years, it's best to address this at this point because it's a lot cheaper. So what we'll end up having is there'll be a breathable felt that's actually employed. We'll have Celotex insulation within it. That will help with the EPC ratings, keeping the heat in. And you can see with the uppers, there's actually quite a tight space. But if you work with the right architects, you can repurpose this and create 3 nice ensuite rooms. There'll be sort of probably 1 double and 2 singles. So you can see within here, this is one of the ensuite rooms that we're going to have. It's quite tight, but this is actually going to be around about 7.5 square meters. You've got an ensuite in here, and you'll have basically the bed, which will come around this way here. You've got a little walkway. We'll have space for a wardrobe, and it'll be quite a nice single room within the property, and these single rooms at the moment rent sort of anywhere in the region of £700 to £800 with all bills included. And then we'll repurpose the other room, so we'll have a walkway here, another room will be here, and then you've got actually it'll be quite a decent 10 square meter room that's going to be here at the front. This actually is a really good use of this space. This is why you need to work with architects from the start, because they can understand how they can get the best per square meter from all the floor space that you actually have. We'll be replacing all the windows because they're the old style PVC double glaze, putting more energy efficient windows. This basically allows less heat to be lost, and as the landlord's going to be paying all the bills on the property, it'll end up saving them money as well. Now, when it comes to HMOs, you don't need to be an expert in every bit, but I always say you need to have a really good power team. From power team, I mean a broker that will understand what it means to actually purchase a property, how you're going to fund the development, how you're going to exit it. So in this case, the client used CPC Finance, who helped them go with a lender that will provide 75% loan to value, 100% of the build, and then the valuation report that they had day one, they're able to then go to an exit lender who will actually be able to use that valuation, and more than likely you get the same value as come back out to value the end product. It's always important to have good solicitors in this game. The reason being, this was an auction purchase, so prior to putting a bid in, the client had their solicitors look at the deal, go through all the contracts, and then give them the green light to actually purchase. And it was actually important that they actually did that, because when it came down to completion, the seller solicitor sent over a completion statement and had some additional fees on, which the client solicitor looked at and said, well, they shouldn't be on there at all, and they got those removed straight away. But if you didn't do your research, you would probably end up paying those fees, and those fees were 15K. So that shows where the importance of a solicitor is. Then the next thing you actually need to do is have good architectural people and planning consultants that are on board. So you want to have the floor space correctly measured. That way you can utilize every square meter of the property and put it to some useful use. Even if you've got some elevations in the eaves, you may be able to work out an area wall. That would probably be worked well with a fitted wardrobe. So prior to actually even completion, the client had some floor plans that made up architectural ones showing how the footprint should be. Then you really need to have a really good building control team. We tend to use private building contractors because we find they actually work for you, as opposed to council ones where their primary focus is the council and not you. Both are completely fine, but we've ended up building up a really strong relationship with our building control guys that we've been working with for the last 15 years. And even when you have an issue, they work with you to resolve it, whereas what we tend to find with council building control people, they tend to leave you to come up with the solution. And then finally, you will need a really good build team, like the one the client has actually got on site here. They know you want people that have actually done the job before, understand potential pitfalls, and when problems occur, they're more willing to work with you rather than focusing on charging an additional fee for any additional work. And that's what we had done here. Once we started taking some walls out, we actually worked out, well, if we can take out a lot of the load-bearing walls on the ground floor and put in some steels, those steels will cost probably an extra 5 to 10K, but the floor space will work better and the downstairs rooms will be a bigger size, and that way the client will actually make more per calendar month from those bigger rooms as they would if there were the existing plans which initially the architect said. So you may be wondering where you can actually find deals like this. Well, deals like this are available all the time. This particular property was a probate property, fell into a little bit disrepair while the probate was being settled. And during that time, we had some pigeons that nested in the upper floors. But these actually create opportunities. When it comes to probate, a lot of these sites go into auctions or with local agents. And if you can actually identify them, because they need work doing, it puts off the typical owner-occupiers that want to move into a property and just put their furniture and just live in it. Now, our client was able to find this site. This was actually in a Savills auction. She bidded on it on the open market, secured it at £405,000. And £405,000 for this particular area was 50k below market value. Identified basically a way of adding value to the property. Because they wanted to retain it, they wanted to pull out most of their capital, they went with the HMO strategy. And ideally, when you're going with the HMO strategy, you want 6 ensuite rooms. The reason you want 6 ensuite rooms is, one, the running costs of having as a 4 or 5 bed HMO or a 6 bed HMO are the same. But 6 is that really lucky number where you're going to get that commercial val on the property, and you're going to basically make a decent yield on it. So it's very important for when we're looking at sites that we try to get that 6th room. Now the build, they've got a budget of £180,000 in place, but that includes that 20k contingency. So the build should cost the client £160,000, but there's £20,000 there for any additional work that may need doing. The exit value is £750,000. So the client here is actually increasing the value of the property by 350k. So there should be a juicy profit. If they bring this site in on budget and on time, it'll be a really good project for them, and then they'll be able to rinse and repeat and go again. Now, if you want to know how you can find, develop, fund, exit deals like these, well, I've got good news for you. See the link in the description. We've got some free resources. You can book a call with the team. We will get your journey started. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, leave a comment. We'll be back each and every week with new content.